So, I met another boy a few months ago. His name is Tim. He has long, dark, brown hair and a burly mustache. He always has a cutoff on so I can see his muscles. He's so handsome and strong. He works down the road at Chuck's truck stop. We met when the last time I had to get my oil changed. I mean, it would have been impossible to not notice him. You've been in some of those greasy auto body shops before. Some of those guys are downright gross, but not Tim. I'm glad he was the one that was going to be working on my car. And I saw his glances. I know he noticed me too. It was like an hour of each of us holding back. I guess we were both just too nervous to make the first move. I hoped our paths would cross again. I'm always open to a new relationship. However, the dating world is difficult in today's society. There are so many liars and jerks out there, it's hard to make a good connection with everyone being so rude. It's an even harder challenge to find someone that's willing to commit. My first boyfriend left me after a month, and my second boyfriend slept with half of the waitresses at the restaurant he worked at. I was heartbroken for months after each breakup. I've learned to be much more careful with my love life. I'm only going into a relationship if I believe that they're going to stick around, and I'm willing to do what I need to do in order to make them want to stay. Finding a genuinely kind man like Tim, it's seriously rare around here. I only get the oil changed in my car every few months. Nobody has caught my attention like Tim did. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about him since. There aren't really a lot of new prospects in our small town. 2 stoplights, 2 gas stations, and 2 bars, and a few other small businesses and a handful of neighborhoods. Most people work in Toledo, which is about 30 minutes away, but not me. I have been working from home for the last 4 years. My therapist recommended a job where I could avoid conflict and take frequent breaks. So, I landed a job editing articles and spreadsheets from the safety of my own home. I'm thankful for that. It gives me the opportunity to focus on my family. It was time for my oil to be changed again, and I honestly couldn't wait to get to the truck stop this time. This is definitely the first time I have ever looked forward to a trip to the body shop. The timing couldn't have been better. When I got there, I could only see 2 employees. He obviously wanted to be alone with me because once he saw me, he told his coworker to go ahead and go to lunch. It was now just him and me. I was so nervous but so excited at the same time. There was nothing else for me to do, so I just watched him work. I could tell he liked it. It was almost like we had a connection already. I've always been so nervous to talk to boys, but I love looking at them. And I love when they look at me. I like to see their emotions and passions, and he was passionate about his work. I could tell he wanted to change my oil perfectly. He was so methodical. He knew what to do after each and every step. Efficient. I like a man who knows what he's doing. When he was done, he used those big, strong arms to pull himself up out of the pit. I think he was trying to impress me, and it worked. He gave me a smile and a nod. It felt good to be noticed. He told me he was going to check my tires, and then I would be ready to go. It sounded so sweet with his southern accent. You don't hear that a lot in Ohio. I couldn't wait to talk to him more and learn about where he's from. He continued to work with such focus, almost like he couldn't bear the thought of me having a flat tire. If I ever have a flat tire again, I want someone like Tim to fix it. I thought to myself, this is crazy, right? I can't be falling for someone this fast. But I was. And I hate that word, crazy. Only mean people use that word. People like my dad and my brother, my cousin, Cooper, mean people. Tim would never call me crazy. He's too nice. He's strong, but I bet he's gentle too. Even with that sexy, rugged look, I bet he's as soft as a teddy bear on the inside. I honestly can't wait to get to know him better. He will be the perfect addition to our family. Love is supposed to be easy, and Tim couldn't have made it any easier. After he finished my last tire, I opened the rear passenger door that was just a few feet away from him. He stood up, and I just went for it. If you can't be bold, you can't fall in love, right? It was our first hug, and it was amazing. Have I mentioned how strong he is? I could tell he was holding back, like he couldn't believe what was happening. I get it. After a moment, he put his hand on my back and said he would go get my bill. Again, always thinking of me first. I went to kiss him. He told me I had the wrong idea. So silly. So humble. He was nervous. Love takes time. This is how it always goes. But I found a way to make those moments last. A way to bridge the gap from the first encounter to a lasting relationship. Tim was truly perfect. This was going so well and so easy that I knew it was meant to be. When he went to get my bill, I went and got my bag. When he came back, I went for another hug. This time though, I was prepared to make it last. I knew he wanted it to last too. He didn't even jump when I stuck the needle on his back. He fell so gracefully into my arms, I was able to slide him into the open door without even hitting his head. I took my time to make sure he was comfortable, covering him up with my favorite blanket. I just happened to have it with me. My doctor said I should always have a comfort item for our sessions, and we had an appointment for 3 o'clock, so I'm gonna have to skip lunch in order to get there on time. But that's okay. Tim was worth it. I drove as carefully as I could on my way home. I wasn't able to buckle him in. I made sure to play soft, romantic music in case he woke up. I wanted him to know that he's safe with me. It was a smooth transition into the wheelchair once we got in my garage. Everything about this has been easy. I knew Tim was special. I remembered how focused and careful he had been while working on my car, so I wanted to provide him with the same experience. I wrapped the zip ties in a towel so they wouldn't irritate his skin, and I made sure the duct tape was flat and smooth so it didn't pull on his stubble. I had to trim his mustache a little bit, but I know he won't mind. He likes to make me happy. He wanted to do everything right for me earlier. I love him for that. I know exactly where to put him. I want him to be comfortable. I can tell he likes the quiet, so I'm gonna put him next to Ben. Ben is sensitive too. He usually doesn't talk. Sometimes he cries when he misses me. I think Tim will help him get through that. I'm definitely not putting him next to Daryl. He can get pretty mean sometimes. He doesn't appreciate all the work and love that I put into this family. And Cooper, he's not gonna be here much longer if he doesn't straighten up, so I don't want to put Tim next to him. He's just not the same sweet man that helped me carry my groceries in my car last month. I definitely don't want Tim to get too attached to him, so I'll put him by Ben. That's gonna be a good fit. I was hoping that Tim would wake up before I had to leave for my appointment, but he was still sound asleep, probably from his long day at the body shop. I wish I could stay, but part of the agreement on living on my own is that I never miss a therapy session, so I'll just have to continue this over dinner later. I stopped by and I got an extra can of tuna on my way to Dr. Simpson's office. I also got a bottle of white wine to help celebrate our first meal together. The extra stop made for a bit of a rush, but I managed to pull into the parking lot just in time. I'll never forget how easy this relationship was going so far. Everything just falling into place perfectly. Dr. Simpson has been my therapist for the last 8 years. He was the only friendly face that ever came to see me while I was in the institution. I hated that place. Some of the people in there were actually crazy. One lady was in there because she kept stealing pets from around her neighborhood. Like, who does that? She probably asked me 100 times if I had any pets. I obviously lied. I don't want some crazy lady knowing that I have 4 cats in my house. I couldn't trust anyone in there. It was dumb that I was even there in the first place. One little misunderstanding led to a big mess that put me in a really bad spot. It wasn't even my fault. First dates, they can get confusing. Anyways, I couldn't really be myself while I was in there. I had to smile and tell them what they wanted to hear, and if I ever wanted the chance to get out, I had to be nice. Dr. Simpson knows I'm a good person. I will forever be grateful that he got me out of there. The day I moved back into my own home was one of the best days of my life. However, the weeks after that were full of loneliness. Dr. Simpson recommended that I reach out to my family, but he doesn't know the truth about what happened to them. That's when I decided to start my own family, and I want it to be extra special. Dr. Simpson always starts our sessions talking about wins. I was giddy to tell him that I had met a new man, and that tonight was our first date. He asked me a lot of questions about him and how we met and what we were going to go do together. I had to exaggerate a few details and hold back on some others. I have to be careful with Dr. Simpson. I don't want him to get jealous. I know how dangerous it can be for doctors to be romantically involved with patients. Besides, I don't think he would understand the depth of my relationship with Tim. It did go fast. But I do believe he is a great therapist. He makes me feel safe and seen. He smiles and nods of approval, help drive home the fact that this truly is the perfect fit.
We hope you enjoyed this ad-free spooky content. All stories were written by us and are not true at all. If you like a good thrill, make sure you follow us on social media, listen to our true stories that we release weekly, and subscribe to our bonus content with the link in the bio.